welcome to another episode here for the Fungal Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And well, I know you're here for like the breakdowns of like how does communication work, media theories at play, sometimes even AI, sometimes also a little more often AI. But this week, we're going to talk about what's really happening in news, what matters, what keeps the world going, no, not going, in its grip. Gossip news. There you go. So we're diving head first into the media storm that is surrounding Sean P. Diddy Puffy Love Combs. So trust me, it's getting wild. And we're not TMC here, obviously, so don't you worry. But we do have to look into like how does media and communication play a role into how we see P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, and so on. So we're not just talking about what's happening right now, because you all have heard of that, obviously. We're going to break down how is it being talked about, why is it resonating, why are we talking about it, and you know how we roll by now. We look at media narratives, how media narratives are being shaped using some of the bigger, but also even lesser known media and communication theories. And I mean, kind of funny that the man who once rapped, "Can't nobody hold me down," oh no, he might not keep on moving because he's facing some serious headlines, issues, and the allegations, let's be honest, are kind of putting that to the test if nobody will be able to hold him down. So let's jump right into it, and I'll start with a theory that you are hopefully familiar with because you listened to the podcast before. If you did not, don't you worry, I got you covered. But hey, subscribe right now so that you don't miss any future theories, right? And it's good to repeat a few that we know so that we will always remember us this way, different artists, so that we always remember what those theories are about and how they are being applied in the real world. And the first theory I throw at you right now is the agenda setting theory, okay? And it's the most obvious one, I think, because we know the media loves a scandal. We talked about this to a great extent before, right? We know that like scandals, they lead to clicks and so on. And if it involves high-profile celebrities, even more so, of course. So the P. Diddy saga has been dominating the headlines for what feels for eternity, right? And it's pretty fascinating how specific details are being like highlighted to me, like to frame the story. And this brings me to this theory, the agenda setting theory, right? The media can tell you what to think, but they sure as hell can tell you what to think about. And it's P. Diddy because, hey, try to not hear P. Diddy for 24 hours. You will, it's impossible. Everyone's talking P. Diddy. Podcasts like this are talking about P. Diddy. Comedians are referencing P. Diddy. It's in the actual news. P. Diddy. It's on Rumble. P. Diddy is everywhere, right? So, and even if you're not trying, right, just going about your day, the details keep popping up, right? The abuse allegations, of course, the freak-offs that we hear now everywhere, car explosions. Yeah, these are the highlights that headlines focus on. And why? Well, because they're sensational, shocking, and the easiest way to grab attention, right? It's like the press taking a cue from It's All About the Benjamins, baby, because just focus on what will grab the most attention and boom, profit. And that's the thing, right? Most of us not really going past the headlines. You all know about Diddy. You've heard what happens kinda because you've all seen the headlines. Yeah, we'll scroll, see the words Diddy, scandal, whatever accusations else are out there, and make up our minds about the entire story. That's the power of agenda setting. And by no means am I saying what you hear isn't true. I'm just saying that's how agenda setting works. Okay? Funny? Not funny. Fact? No outlet trying to protect Diddy. Usually you see like there are two sides to the story, right? Capitol gets stormed. There are bad people on both sides. There seems to be only one of those sides right now. Second theory I'm going to throw at you. I'm going to slow down a little bit because We haven't talked about this theory as much as about the agenda settings theory, but we did mention it a few times before. If you missed it, one more time, subscribe. Make sure you don't miss any further theories, because that's where you learn how the media works, how the media is trying to control you. I should have used my Alex Jones voice for that. The media. 5G. Sorry. We're talking about Diddy, not Alex Jones. Alex Jones special coming up at some point. But let's stick with Diddy. That sounds weird. Let's stick with Diddy. Let's focus on Diddy. Said no one. Probably said too many people said that probably. Let's talk about how the public reacts to all of that, okay? When a celebrity like Diddy, who's been like a cultural icon, let's be honest, for decades. Yep. And yes, he's been a cultural icon for decades. Personal anecdote, I've been listening to Diddy Puff Daddy songs for 20 plus years. It used to be on my hype playlist for sports when I went for volleyball games, go for Muay Thai training and stuff. It's like there's always been some sort of like P. Diddy, Puff Daddy stuff on there. He's a cultural icon, okay? And he gets in a scandal like this, it's gonna stir up some moral panic, okay? Phrased first by Stanley Cohen, by the way, if you want to read up on that. This media points like that, okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to teach you something, okay? So in Stanley Cohen's initial explanation of the theory, moral panic, he says, well, we have what he calls folk devils in the theory, okay? Folk devils are like those people in the public limelight that the media paints as bad, okay? And so now when we look at, so that they're just scared of it, okay? So now, in this case, of course, Diddy is the folk devil, obviously, right? The representation of what's wrong with celebrity excess, power, and abuse. And again, I'm not saying it's not the case. I'm saying, yeah, it is the case. He's the devil for a reason, okay? He's the folk devil for a reason. And this moral panic idea isn't new, right? Every few years, we see like another celebrity fall from grace and cue now all the conspiracy theories as to why that's the case. Like your straw, you got drawn and that's why you're at it. But no, again, not Alex Jones here, not on, even though this video will be on Rumble, but not Alex Jonesing. But every time someone gets caught up in whatever they've been doing, it feels like the world collectively freaks out. And Diddy with this now, and yeah, making this clear, incredibly disturbing allegation, of course, becomes the embodiment of that fear right now, which is understandable. But the narrative becomes, look at what happens when celebrities have too much power, when they're untouchable. And while that is the case, that is terrible, the media then pushes the panic, and we, as the public, feed into it. Yeah, reinforcing the panic cycle. So that's why moral panic works. That's why news outlets are happy about inducing moral panic into the public, because we're like, oh my God, what happened then? What happened? And then he did this, and he did, oh my God, what the, moral panic leads to clicks, buys, download, whatever, right? So that's why moral panics are good for media and for politics as well, because then the politics can pass new rules, new regulations, new laws, maybe even, okay? That's why moral panics work for the media and for the government. Yeah, remember how Diddy said, like, I'll be missing you. I'm not saying this now, of course, but yeah, well, the media isn't missing him, or, well, isn't missing him out there. Yeah, obviously. They've turned him into the face of moral decay in celebrity culture, which, again, fair point. Don't misunderstand. I'm just saying the media is jumping on it because, yes, we got someone new that we can feast upon. Again, which is fair. Okay, just to make the point. Okay. Now, next theory that you might have heard as well. If not, you know what to do. Like, share, and so on. Sharing helps understanding too. That's my theory. So my third theory that I have, and I think I brought you 5 or 6 theories, so stick with me here, is the spiral of silence. Okay? And in this case, you might wonder, how is it related? Well, why do victims stay silent for so long? And don't worry, it's not going into victim blaming. Don't cancel me. Definitely not. I'm trying to explain why people sometimes stay silent for longer than you would think. Okay? Because why did it take so long for the accusations to actually surface, right? Well, one, because the FBI wanted to keep it. Alex, that's what you can listen to for Alex Jones. But like we're hearing from the people accusing him now, while this has been ongoing for a long time. And one of the reasons, besides the FBI trying to build a case and all the other theories, is the spiral silence theory, which says that people tend to stay silent when they feel like their views are in the minority. And in Diddy's case, just think about how intimidating it must have been for the victims to speak out against one of the most powerful figures in music history, in the music industry, right? That must be incredibly intimidating. So here's the spiral of silence at play, right? Like, who speaks out against Diddy? Diddy. No one. 50 Cent. But other than that, nobody. The Cat Williams. Other than that, nobody, right? So for years, like, Diddy's wealth, power, influence kept these stories buried. No one wanted to go up against the media mogul that owns like his own record labels and whatnot. But now we're seeing that spiral break, right? And the accusations are coming out in waves, and each new voice of those accusations emboldens the next. Well, this isn't just about P. Diddy, it's about breaking through the fear of speaking out against powerful people, which is a good thing, right? But you see this spiral of silence is a thing. Like, I'm not saying anything. Why should I? How can I say something against like that super mega star, has all the lawyers, all the money, everything? Like, but once the spiral is broken, then more waves can come to land, so to speak, can come to the surface. Okay. Another one that I wanted to discuss actually with you in this regard is the parasocial interaction theory. And I felt a bit, how to say that, conflicted adding that to my notes, because it kind of explains to like why fans can't let go. And let's not forget that P. Diddy isn't just a random celebrity, right? For many people my age in particular, he's a music legend, like a cultural icon who actually, gotta admit, helped shape hip-hop as we know it, right? And that creates like a parasocial relationship. Like, fans feel like they know him. They grow up with his music, his image, his story. So what happens when the same fans are now confronted with those dark and disturbing allegations? The parasocial interaction theory helps explain why so many fans are struggling to accept the truth. There's an emotional bond between the public and that star that you have a parasocial relationship with, in this case, Diddy. Even though it's completely one-sided, he doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know anything about you, right? But this bond, this parasocial bond, makes it harder for fans to reconcile the artist they admire with the person being accused of such heinous actions, right? Mm-hmm. This is why even now there are people defending him online. It's not rational. You hear all the allegations, like, how can you be defending Diddy? But it's emotional. Okay? That's also important to understand. That sometimes this emotional bond is very, very, very strong. Maybe some of his songs got you through some dark stuff, and you have like a emotional bond to this, not even to the arts, but to the songs. And you're like, I can't believe it. No, this cannot be true. Right? So that's a parasocial interaction relationship. And do you keep defending the man who made like more money, more problems, or do you face like that harsh reality of the allegations? And so this parasocial bond runs really, really deep, and it complicates that whole narrative. And it's not just in the case for Diddy, obviously, right? It's with everything. It's with politicians, with other superstars. Parasocial, like, social relationships are very strong. Parasocial also, even though the other side doesn't even know that you exist. I have all those Diddy songs in my head, especially also the non-Diddy songs that reference Diddy songs, like Wake Up in the Morning Feeling Like P. Diddy. What was that about, actually? Let's move on before we go too deep. No, not saying it. So, number 5, social learning theory. Okay. Why? Because, well, it explains a little bit that the impact of celebrity behavior, I think. Because a key theory that fits to the whole case, this social learning theory being one of those, says that essentially we learn behaviors by observing others, yeah, especially those in positions of influence. And with Diddy, this sheer magnitude of his influence in the music industry cannot be ignored, right? I said it earlier. So, but what's important is how his alleged behavior has set a tone for like what's acceptable or at least tolerable in celebrity culture, which is really disturbing. And so when celebrities act without consequences, their fans, particularly young people, they internalize those actions as part of like what it means to be successful and powerful. And the media's glorification of like his success up until the allegations only like added to the perception. And just like, like celebrating like gang violence or whatnot in like early hip-hop culture and all those things, right? That's social learning, social behavior that you learn via the social learning theory. And I'm hesitating because it's everywhere. It's not just Diddy, right? And the fallout right now is obviously necessary. It's a reminder of the impact that his behavior has had on normalizing those certain power dynamics and the behavior that comes with it. And I mean, it didn't only abuse, but then when groomed, of course, just disturbing AF. But then, of course, others would also learn from him, like other celebrities that would hang around, spend time with Diddy in those settings would and also learn from that and think that's normal. I'm famous now, I can behave like that. And oh my God, this is disturbing. Yeah, social learning is a thing. So be the change you want to see, set standards, okay? Do better. Every time you have the option to do better, okay? It's cliche, but you're the change. You're the role model for others. Keep that in mind. All right, I have one more before I'm getting really disturbed, which is the cultivation theory. We talked about it many times as well, but it fits quite well here again. Again, if you want more series, also more niche theories, hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any updates. And hopefully next time around, we're not talking about P. Diddy anymore. Talk about another celebrity. No. Pardon me, now you hear I'm still coughing. It's been 4 weeks. If you have any home remedies for coughing, please do let me know. Otherwise, I feel fine. But hey, let's go back to the last theory. Cultivation theory. A long-term media influence. That's what the cultivation theory is about, right? As you know, if you listened before, if not, subscribe. This theory argues that the more we are exposed to certain ideas in the media, the more we start to accept them as reality, right? So I show you certain ideas over and over again, and eventually you're like, yep, let's build that wall. So the media coverage around Diddy and similar celebrity scandals, of course, but we're sticking with Diddy for this video, gradually like cultivates this certain worldview among audience. In this case, repeated coverage of celebrity power abuse builds that narrative that that's just how things are. Yeah, people with power exploit the power, and that's the norm. That's just the case. Should we get used to it? No, but like that's the narrative that we're seeing via cultivation theory. So this theory also plays into like how we desensitize the scandals over time. As more stories like this emerge, right? Because we have lots of celebrities being involved in those, and now on Diddy's freak-off list, like every celebrity is on there, right? Crazy. So it kind of like desensitizes us to it. The shock value decreases, which is not a good thing, obviously. And it's not just happened with like celebrity gossip news like this, or like it's not gossip, let's call it, because it's obviously disturbing and crazy and insane. But it's not just with news like that, it's also like war coverage, for example, right? Famine, anything. And so the more we are exposed to it, the more we get desensitized, and the more it's like on TMC and things like this, the more we get desensitized by it. Because we become conditioned to expect these revelations, and the outrage then that those revelations bring with them, they eventually fade faster than if it wouldn't happen all the time, right? It's a dangerous cycle, and Yeah, right now we start to view celebrity wrongdoing as inevitable rather than shocking. And that's also because we're cultivated by the media to it. I'm not saying the media wants this to happen, but the media certainly is happy to have something to report, but the media doesn't say, hey, this is good. They're happy to report on it, and we're clicking it, and we're viewing it, and we're watching it, and we're talking about it. But the more we watch, talk, share it, the more we're getting desensitized, the faster our attention moves away, and the more of those events, situations might take place. I don't know. You see what I'm saying, though, right? Desensitization, that's a tough word for a German. Too many S's in there. Is a thing, and we need to actively make sure that we're not getting desensitized too much, be it by Diddy news, be it by war coverage, be it by whatever. Okay, that is very important. Okay, before we're getting like too numb and mellow from all the sad stuff, let's conclude and end it in a second. Because at the end of the day, this whole saga isn't just about Diddy. It's also about Beyoncé, Jay-Z. It's about how the media builds celebrities up, and when time comes, then tears them down. And one more time, he deserves everything that's coming at him. No doubt about it. Sorry, one more time. No doubt about it, right? I'm trying to keep the cough in. So communication theories like agenda setting, moral panic, spiral silence, and even social learning all play into how we're consuming the story. I said Diddy too often now, like I'm about to collapse here on the podcast. That's how we're consuming the story and how we're reacting to it. And how the public narrative shifts over time as well. So this case will continue for a long time, and as it continues to unfold, I keep an eye on like how the media is framing the story, what details are being highlighted, and how that affects public opinion. Because in the world of celebrity scandals, it's not just about what happened, it's about how it's being told. We know that, right? And let's be real, Diddy might have been coming home in his tracks, but now the media and the public definitely waiting to see if he can come back from this, and he ain't coming home anytime soon. He ain't going nowhere. With this, I'm ending it here now before I start coughing again. Thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe for more media and communication theory breakdowns. Leave a comment, leave a review on the podcast page wherever you're listening, because that really helps reach a wide audience. Until then, stay safe, stay away from freakouts, take care, and we talk soon. Sawadee.